Do you feel like you just don't see enough people in Warzone? Or do the lobbies just die out super quick so you can't get high kills? You're just running and running without seeing anybody, and then you end up dying to a bush camper or some dude chilling up in a building. Are you dropping 10 to 15 kills and you want to be dropping 20 plus kills? Or are you the opposite and you're dropping 5 to 7 kills, but you want to be dropping 10 plus kills? Well, by the end of this video, you'll be able to implement this one strategy into your playstyle, giving you the ability to drop more kills, whether that be 10 plus, 20 plus, or even a 30 bomb. Now, before I tell you what this strategy is, let me tell you why you can't seem to be dropping high kills. Well, the number one thing that's holding you back from dropping high kills is your pacing. If you watch pro players like Aiden, Joe, and Biffle, the one thing that you will notice is how fast they play. They're always on the lookout for the next pair of cheeks they can clap. They're not running around waiting for someone to push them or for someone to shoot so they can go chase that dot down. Not only that, but they also don't tend to drag on fights. If they see someone is camping and being a rat, they'd rather push them very aggressively or completely move on to a different player or team because it's not worth the time. Now, that all comes with experience and time in the game, but there is this one strategy you can implement in your playstyle that will help you get more kills, whether that be 10 plus kills or 20 plus kills, depending on your skill level. Not only that, but by using this strategy, you will also get comfortable pushing people and getting out of tough situations. I'm talking about using vehicles. Now hold on, I know it may seem obvious to use vehicles to get around the map so you can find more people, but that's not all the vehicles are capable of. Not only can you speed up your game by using vehicles to come into contact with more people, which will lead to more kills, but it can also lead to easier and quicker kills. You need to stop thinking of vehicles as transportation, but rather think of them as weapons. Now, what do I mean by thinking of them as weapons? Well, not only are the vehicles a one shot, meaning you can run people over, which is extremely toxic by the way, but the animation for vehicles is extremely broken and powerful. And I'm not the only one who thinks that.
But in solos, that was one thing that Birder Speed and the main channel we talked about, is that animation just can be completely abused. I mean, let's be honest. This is the like easiest way to succeed in solo. You're still playing aggressive, right? You're not just like, you got 12 kills, which is pretty dang good for a solos match. But yeah, you can definitely abuse this one.
Top players like Iceman Isaac also think the same thing and use these vehicles as weapons to drop 20 bombs, 30 bombs, even in solos, which can seem impossible at times. Now, I know the average player isn't as good as these pro players or streamers, and nor do they have the time to play the game as much. But if you want a chance of increasing your kills, you need to increase your pace. At first, yes, you'll be frustrated and you'll die a lot, but believe me, I've been through this myself. I wonder to myself, how can these streamers be dropping 20 bombs and 30 bombs so casually while I'm over here pulling my hair out, struggling to get 10 kills? At first, I thought, oh, it's because they play squads and they play with other good players and I'm only playing solos. And to a degree, that's true. Having teammates that are just as capable as you will help you get out of tough situations and help you get more kills. But then I saw players like Iceman Isaac and Blue who played solos and are still dropping 20 bombs and 30 bombs, and I wondered to myself, how are they doing this? So I studied their game and I kept on watching their videos until I learned a few things. Before I tell you what it is, I noticed you dropped something right there. Yeah, right there. It's underneath the video. You forgot to hit that like button. Oh, and since you're down there, you might as well hit that big red sub button. It's free to do. Now come back up to the video and let me tell you how they're doing this. Now, by all means, both are amazing players and they have and use many more skills than just vehicles. But the one key thing I got from watching them and implementing it in my game is how they use vehicles to get around the map and get in positions to get easier and more kills. Now, it's pretty straightforward how they put themselves in better position using vehicles, but how are they getting easier kills? Well, there's 3 things they use to get easier kills and they all relate to the animation of vehicles. The 3 animations include the get in animation, the get out animation, and switching seats. Let's start with the get out animation, which is what most of you are probably familiar with. I see a lot of people already doing this. If you don't know what it is, it's basically you getting out in front of the enemy while the enemy thinks you're driving by. And the reason they think you're driving by is because the animation is so quick that they don't realize you've gotten out already. And by the time they do realize, they're already dead. So you get out in front of the enemy enemy or behind the enemy, and the enemy is still shooting your car, leading to an easier kill. Now that's pretty straightforward, but one mistake I've seen a lot of players make is when they're going up against an experienced player, and this enemy knows you're gonna get out, so when the player does get out, they end up getting beamed, especially because they get out in front of no cover. So one way to avoid this is by making sure whenever you hop out, there's cover in front of you or close by, so when you do start to get beamed, you can always get into cover. So you have to be careful on when and who you use this technique against. Now the second one is the get in animation. This one isn't used in many cases and usually ends in you dying. People usually use this animation to escape stuns or when they need to make space to heal up. But if you're up against a skilled player, he can probably likely beam you in the car, especially if your health is low. So you have to be careful when you use this animation because it could potentially lead to you dying. The only times I would use this is if you're stunned and you can't move, so you press the button to get in the car and it doesn't take into the effect of the stun effect. So you start moving normally and you can make some space between you and the enemy, giving you a chance to heal and a second shot at that fight. Now moving on to the third and the last thing, which is one of the most important things, is switching seats. This is the next step in the process of mastering the vehicle game. There are many advantages to switching seats in a car. For example, if someone is shooting you from the front, you can quickly switch seats and start shooting right back. Not only will they be shooting the driver's seat because you can't tell in Warzone if someone switched seats, but you will also be shooting back from the passenger side, leading to you not taking damage while the other player is taking a lot more damage. And even if a person does realize you switched seats, it's already too late by then because they're already shooting the driver's seats. It's a way of getting first shots in even though you didn't get the first shots in, if that makes sense at all. Personally, for me, this has led to many easier kills and unexpected deaths for the enemy. Another situation where switching seats is valuable is when you're damaged and you need to heal up. Instead of stopping and getting out in the middle of nowhere, switch seats while the car is moving and plate up. This way you're a harder target to hit and you still have that protection of the car. You can also do this if somebody is chasing you in another car. Instead of stopping and potentially having that player push you, keep the car rolling, switch seats and plate up so the enemy doesn't have a chance of getting the drop on you. So let me go over the three techniques again. It's the get in animation, the get out animation, and switching seats. Now these three techniques will take you time to master, but the road to mastery is practice. Now you may find even with having a car, it's still hard to find players, especially in solos. And yeah, you're gonna have some games like that where you can't find anybody, and not every game you can drop 20 bombs. But there are two ways of finding more players in Warzone. One of them is popping UAVs. You need to be popping UAVs as much as possible, especially in the early game when nobody has ghosts. This will lead you to have more kills in the early game, so you don't have to worry about getting kills in the end game when a lot of players are just hiding or ratting around. And by having UAVs popped, it'll be easier for you to locate enemies and get the drop on them. Now the second thing is using bounties and big game bounties if you don't have enough money for UAVs. You need to get in the cycle of popping UAVs, get in the car, go to a player, kill, pop another UAV, or if you don't have money, pick up a bounty, pick up a big game bounty. And that's the only way you're gonna find a lot of players and eventually get more and more and more kills. If you watch any of the high kill streamers play or even the pro players, they're always popping UAVs or they're always hunting for bounties and they're always using vehicles to get to those players. So now you know how to find players, how to get to those players, and what to do when you do get to those players. Hope this video helped you, man. Now the only thing that's missing is using the best guns to get those kills. So if you want to find out the best Cold War guns to use in Caldera, check out this video on the screen. And if you enjoyed the content, make sure you guys hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm and join the community by hitting that sub button so we can become better Warzone players together. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.